What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cigars and Whiskey for our next review. Today's review, we're going to be reviewing a cigar that was released in 2019. It's been a little while since I got around to getting one so I could try it. I have reviewed other cigars of this brand, and the cigar, without any more hesitation or not letting you know, here it is. We're going to be doing the Wild Hunter by Oscar Valladares, and this is the Oscuro, which is the Maduro. There is a natural. This is a 6x52 cigar. It is a Honduran puro, which means that the wrapper, the binder, and the filler are all from Honduras. Now, with that said, as you can see, being Wild Hunter, they've went with the whole typical hunting profile, little camouflage, little orange, for those who will criticize me later. And then it has a footband that just indicates that it's a oscuro. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and cut it up, and we'll get into the pre-draw. Alright, everybody, with the pre-draw, we're going to start off by cutting it off with a straight cut. And I just tend to use a straight cut 95% of the time. That's just my preference. You can try, it's big enough, you could try a punch or even a V-cut. But that's all entirely up to you. Alright, so as you can see, it is a darkish, lightish brown. It's not really a real dark oscuro, like some are typically very almost real dark coffee to almost black. This one is not. I don't know if that has to do with the tobacco in Honduras, that it doesn't get as dark, or they just didn't age as long. I'm not 100% sure. But with that, right off the bat, the first note I get is like a spice, like a baking spice, right off the bat. I'm getting a little bit of a cedar or an oak profile. It's like in between both. First it tastes like cedar, and then you let it sit for a second, and it tastes like oak. It's got a good draw. It is spongy to the touch. It's not too hardly packed, but that's what we got so far. We'll go ahead and light it up. I'll be back with the first third of the Wild Hunter Oscuro. Alright, getting into the first third, going to go ahead and just light it up here. I'm a little difficulty with my lighter. It is a little cooler than normal where I live. We'll go ahead and get that, give it a toast. Initially, you get a real musky profile. Also like a wet paper profile. That's kind of weird. That spice that I initially got on the pre-draw, it isn't even, can't even tell it's there, or if it is even there. Now, while I'm into the first stir, I'm going to go ahead and go into it. There are some out there. This is one of those cigars, from what I understand, people either love it or they hate it. There was no in the middle. They either like the cigar and they'd smoke it again, or they would never touch the cigar again. And I personally haven't experienced the whole cigar yet, so I'm not going to make a comment like that until I've reviewed it. And I suggest you don't make a comment like that until you've tried it. Because again, I've had cigars people tell me are the best in the world, and I think they are terrible. And vice versa. There's cigars I've recommended to friends of mine who thought I was giving them a good cigar, and they didn't like it at all. So it all depends on you and your palate and what you are wanting. With that said, we're going to keep going through it. I'll be back with the second third of our Wild Hunter by Oscar Valladares. Alright, everybody, welcome back for the second third of our review of the Wild Hunter by Oscar Valladares. Now in that second third, I am starting to notice a little more oak, a little more earth, a little more musky than it was initially, and there is that little bit of that spice back there on the back of the palate, but it is not as predominant and as pleasurable. I can notice it, but it's not really anything that stands out unless you really look for it. I'm really trying hard to get around the musky profile on this cigar. It's just simply a very different Honduran cigar that I've had, or for that fact, as we said, an Oscuro Maduro, which I don't know. I don't know how they graded that way or why they graded that way, but I don't think it fits. With that said, we'll keep going through it. I'll be right back with the final third and my final thoughts right after this. All right, everybody, welcome back for the final third of the Wild Hunter by Oscar Valladares. In the final third, the profiles are staying the same. That bitterness is kind of going away, but it's not really being as predominant as it was in the second third. And man, I definitely suggest you should try the cigar. With that said, it is very ashy. It does flake off and fall in your lap, so that is a kind of a, I would say, a negative on a cigar for me. I just don't like having to keep brushing it off myself. And also, it is something definitely to try. I do suggest everybody try cigars, because it might be cigars you like and it might not be cigars that you care for, but you don't know until you try. And sometimes you can't just go off of what people tell you, because sometimes their profile preferences are different than yours. With that said, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and as always, have a great day, have a great smoke, and I'll see you next time.